Now, I'm not the biggest fan of the first Thor film, even though I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was kind of cheesy. The Avengers, on the other hand, was a pretty amazing film, and I'm a big fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so without a doubt in my mind, I was excited for Thor the Dark World, and I have to say that it was pretty amazing. I really must commend the cast and crew because the film blew me away. Seriously, I did not see it coming, and I was very pleased sitting in that theater. Now, Thor the Dark World tells the story of Malekith, who is a dark elf, and he wants to descend the universe into darkness and rule the 9 realms. But of course, it is Thor who has to stop him because this time, it's personal. The film is directed by Alan Taylor, who actually hasn't made a feature film for the past 10 years, but he's directed a lot of episodes of a famous TV show called Game of Thrones, and there's a lot of medieval stuff in that show, and you can really feel the setting and the atmosphere because it is spot on. Now, the characters from the previous 2 films have returned, of course, and you have characters such as Volstagg, Sif, Fandral, and Frigga, who do in fact play pivotal roles in the film and actually help push the story forward, which I was very happy to see that the supporting cast really did help out. You also have Dr. Erik Selvig and Darcy, who in this film do come across as a bit cartoonish in the beginning, but then Erik Selvig gets a little more serious and Darcy remains Darcy. Now, it's an issue that a lot of people have that I just feel like I need to address. You know, Darcy does show up at certain moments and break certain tense moments with what I feel is slightly unnecessary comedic relief here and there. Nonetheless, she wasn't that bad in this film.
Typical.
Jane Foster, played by Natalie Portman, is a very interesting character and a very likable character, especially in this film. To see her brought into Asgard is something we didn't get to see in the first film, which is something I really enjoyed, and Natalie Portman's performance is certainly much better than her performance in the original Thor. Malekith is the villain in this film, and I have to say he was pretty menacing, you know, it was a little more believable. I mean, of course, the makeup and the costume kind of added to that, but when he speaks to his people in his own native language and his eyes really get across this sense of villainy to you, and of course that's credit to the actor Christopher Eccleston. I was very happy to see Odin as well. The arguments that he and Thor have, as they did in the first film, are always a treat to watch, and they actually serve a decent emotional purpose through the course of the film. Thor, of course, is great physically. Sure, the look, Chris Hemsworth has it, but even now, I think he's got used to playing the character. This is the 3rd film where he's playing the character, so he's kind of understood more so the mannerisms of Thor, and he can really absorb that bit of arrogance, that tidbit of arrogance that he has, with yet the bit of heroism that he always displays. But in my opinion, the scene stealer, as he has always been, is Loki. Loki is just so mischievous and evil, and this time he has to team up with Thor, so it is a pretty interesting thing to watch. There are so many moments between him and Thor that are so interesting to watch, with the brothers and how they have to kind of resolve old differences, kind of adapt to circumstances and work together, which is not something that they're used to doing.
You betray me and I will kill you.
Now, the visuals in the film are absolutely stunning. The visual effects, with a budget of $170 million of this film, definitely have to be good, and my god, there are some amazing moments in this film, especially towards the end. There's a great fight scene, actually a couple of great fight scenes here and there, but I like the use of certain practical effects that you can really observe in these practical sets. It just makes it a little more believable, and when you're watching the film in IMAX 3D as I did, it's certainly way more gripping. You know, the cinematography is also great. There's a lot of great scenery and backgrounds in the film, and I have to say that Alan Taylor did a great job directing this film. There's some great shots. He manages to hold some great shots, and there's none of the Dutch angles that we had in the original Thor, which I am of course pleased about in Thor the Dark World. The action scenes are well directed and of course well paced, and I must say that from a visual standpoint alone, the film succeeds. I really must commend the makeup department, costume department, and the set department because, wow, basically the production in general, because everything it just adds this little quality to it when you can see real practical sets in this very estranged Asgardian world, and it really makes you feel that you're there. It really breaks the bounds between the screen and the seat you're sitting in, because it gives you the feeling that you're there, and it looked beautiful, as it is supposed to, of course, because Asgard kind of looks like a palace. Brian Tyler, who did the score for Iron Man 3, which had a great theme and a couple of great tracks here and there, has completely shattered that score, because this score is something else. It is so powerful, and it really matches the large scale and the epic scale of the film. There's certain moments where I felt that the score was almost, dare I say, Lord of the Rings-ish. Dialogue here and there on Asgard is great, but you know, on Earth it could have been cleaned up a little bit. I wouldn't say that the dialogue is perfect by any means, nor is the story, but the story is certainly good and up to a certain standard. Now I just have to say that the film is so much fun. It is an unending amount of fun. There were 5 or 6 moments where my jaw just dropped. So overall, Thor: The Dark World exceeded my expectations by any means. It is my favorite of the Marvel films, and I must say that it is a well-enjoyed theater experience, one that I recommend you watch in IMAX 3D. I really went in thinking I was not gonna like it, and I walked out realizing how wrong I was. I'm going to give Thor: The Dark World a triple yes.
All yours.
Anyone else?